Evening PooTube, hope everyone's good. Now, like everybody, I've seen this AY versus the list keeps growing, doesn't it? First it was CP, then it was DJE, now it's DP. The list just keeps going and going, doesn't it? Now, what I've noticed, which is Jupiter is always the person in the middle with a spoon, the instigator, putting fucking 50p in the backs of useful idiots, basically. Now, I think it speaks volumes that Jupiter has, as per usual, had to hide the lives on the run up to that, because it shows that Jupiter is a main instigator of all this shit for people like Jupiter. AY is just a means of climbing up the tree and using people like AY, useful idiots. It was Danny Roscoe not so long ago she was using. I think Danny Roscoe's come to the end of being useful for Jupiter, and now you can see she'll quite happily turn on Danny Roscoe. Now, this with AY and DP, all I will say is it could have been a lot worse. Somebody could quite easily have died or whatever. I'm not being funny, but when you start swinging baseball bats around and hitting people in the soft parts of their head, then the chances of killing someone is pretty up there. Do you know what I mean? It's not like just turning up and having a fucking straightener, is it? Do you know what I mean? Now, the defending from Jupiter is fucking tremendous, isn't it? The amount of lies she's willing to fucking say, the amount of remixing and hiding the evidence like a little shitbag. Do you know what I mean? This woman defends AY, her YouTube love, far more than Hector, the vile husband that fucking prays for fucking abuse to happen to children, etc. Due to Jupiter's fucking arguments on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? This is how seriously these weirdos take YouTube to another level, to the point where they're actually happy. Let me go. Where they're actually happy to take it to silly lengths over YouTube. Now, people could say, oh, you're a hypocrite, you turned up to Sean's. Yeah, I did turn up to Sean's. Now, I'm going to point out a few differences. When I turned up to Sean's, I told him before I was going that I was going to come to his house and I would be bringing no violence. I would be offering no violence. I simply would be coming for showing him my face, versus the video which he had, which he claimed was me, just so he could see for himself, face to face, this is me, this is what I look like, this is what I sound like, so you are 100% sure that I am not the person in your video, which he claimed at the time was this guy that lived in his house at some point or whatever, and this guy was a woman beater and was in contact, was it Snapchat or something, with children or whatever. It was a racist and a terrorist, to the point where Jupiter was instructing her fucking mentally unwell followers or whatever to all contact counter-terrorism because I dared to turn up to Sean's house. Now, like I say, when I turned up to Sean's, I told him I was coming beforehand. I told him I weren't bringing any violence. I just wanted him to see myself and realise he'd got it wrong, and I'd have been happy to walk away with an apology. Simple as that. Now, what I didn't do, and I think people would have had a lot to say if I did, was turn up with another person, even though I said, oh yeah, I'm coming on my own. If I'd have turned up with another person and that person was armed with a bat, what would Jupiter have had to say then, considering all the pissing and moaning she was doing because I actually turned up to Sean's house for an apology? That was it, an apology. What would she have had to say if I'd have done that? But because it's AY, oh no, we'll defend everything, we'll hide the evidence, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll twist everything out of fucking shape and just hide the evidence or whatever. Now, obviously, people record these things. I mean, I sensed something brewing a few days ago, and I've made a few recordings along the way. So all the ones that Jupiter's hidden now, realistically, are not really going to be much help to anybody. What was said was said. Now, I've seen it unfold on Society X today. People from both sides of that situation, it seems. Some have fallen for the AY bullshit, the Jupiter bullshit, and some not so much. It seems very 50-50, I would say. Now, some people are saying today that, oh well, if we wouldn't have seen DP's body cam footage, I believe it was, we would have never known that AY was with another guy. I honestly don't know where people are looking. All you have to do is look at the original footage, which was on AY's own live, where he was walking around. He was looking for somewhere off camera, by the looks of it, by the sounds of it, his words, his actions. Now, why would you be looking for somewhere off camera, realistically? Bear in mind all these fucking remixing of why he was actually going down there, because it was made very clear that he was going down there specifically to a postcode to meet DP, and if DP didn't come down the stairs, he would be going, AY would be going up the stairs. Yeah? So all the remixing and bullshit of, oh, I was going to go and do a hotel inspection at gone whatever time, it was gone midnight anyway. I mean, okay, let's try and be reasonable. Has AY ever gone and done a hotel inspection any other time other than the daytime? Has he ever gone in the early hours of the morning, past midnight, etc.? I've never seen one. I used to watch his content when he first started and whatever. All the ones I've seen seem to be in the daytime, not the night time. Now, it doesn't help the lies and the remixing and whatever when you've got the evidence, which was the run up to that. What's trying to be made out is just simply not true. Oh, I was going up there to do a hotel inspection. No, he wasn't. He was going up there to confront the person which you had an issue with, DP. He was going directly to a postcode, and you've either gone with or met up with a friend with a baseball bat. Now, at the location. Now, to me, the person with the bat, we'll call him Batman, seemed to look a hell of a lot like the person which AY had as security when he was looking to confront DJ in London. Looked a lot like in several ways or whatever. Now obviously people are going to look at the video a little bit closer, etc. They could maybe go back and reference to the person in London that was AY security on the day. An educated guess tells me that that would probably be a good place to look to who it was, because that's who I thought it was instantly. Now, on AY's own footage, you can clearly see the first few seconds after coming round the corner, you had DP run up to him. Okay, DP ran up to him, and I think he threw a punch or he ran into him or something like that, tried taking him off his feet or something, I don't know. But what you could see a couple of seconds after that is one person laying on the floor, which looked like they'd just been hit with a bat. And then just to the left of AY, you could see somebody that was clearly with AY. He wasn't in front of AY. He didn't have his front to face AY. He was with his back to AY. Now that person moves forward in front of AY and then starts chasing across the road one of the people that DP turned up with. So for AY to be then still trying to come out with the bullshit of, oh, I was there on my own, blah blah blah. No, he never mentioned this fucking guardian that fell out of the sky or whatever and just happened to bring a bat. He didn't mention that then, did he? So for everyone that says, oh, AY is too smart for this, blah blah blah, he won't turn up to anybody's door. Well, he'd already said he was gonna turn up at the door, and if DP didn't come down, he would be going up. So there's your initial threat anyway. And then the video evidence itself shows you clear as day that AY wasn't alone and had a friend with him that had a bat. And just a few seconds of that showing you that AY didn't really touch anybody. It was his friend, his mysterious fucking guardian angel or whatever, with a bat. Now, it's one of them, innit? DP could go to the police, AY could go to the police, none of them could go to the police. It still happened in public. The people around these situations will quite happily use it regardless. You know what I mean? None of them have to put a police complaint in. People can take it on their own and say, well, you know, this happened in public, blah blah blah, I want something doing about it, and it will have to be investigated. That's how shit works. So when you've got Jupiter making out like she knows everything about the law, she knows fuck all. She's a useful idiot. When you've got AY that goes on like he knows about the law, it doesn't seem to at all. And I'm not being funny, but it comes across quite dumb, to the point where you're trying to remix over things people have already watched. So in my opinion, he's not only dumb, but he thinks the people that are watching these things unfold are more dumb than he is. Now, that's quite insulting to most people, I would imagine. Most people have seen these things unfold and are very awake to what has actually just happened. And for the people that have been around supporting these audit communities for a number of years before people like AY arrived and whatever. Now DP, I don't know. Has he been around a year? I don't know. Has he been around 3, 4, 5, 6? I don't know. I ain't got a clue. I've had a look on his not Facebook, YouTube account or whatever. And the oldest video I can find is about a year old, which is about the same time as AY. Now, for people that genuinely support the real auditors, the people that are actually like, you know, you'd be proud of or whatever, not ashamed of, I think it's bad on all of them, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? People like Yorkshire Rose and whatever, which has always done things the right way, this, that and the other. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like all this shit back and forth, and it does seem to be a lot of them are, not a lot of them, certain people in these audit communities now are just in it for the money, for the views, for the notoriety, for the clout, whatever. It's a lot like they've lost sight of, or maybe they've never been interested in the actual cause of it, or whatever, what we're actually trying to awake people to, what we're actually trying to achieve, etc. Now, whichever way you look at it, whether you're team AY, because people have picked teams, do you know what I mean? Let's not pretend, people have. Whichever side you're on, whether it be team AY, team DP, that's without mentioning the other people that have been like bullied, attacked, had everything brought to the attention of the internet, rather than have a quiet conversation over a coffee and go over the problems and try and right things and whatever, rather than splashing it all around the internet and making the whole auditing community look shit because of it. Do you know what I mean? It brings negative fucking connotations to the wider community, which is wrong on so many levels. Do you know what I mean? Now, like I said a while ago, from where I stand, the audit community have always been a good, strong, solid community which build each other up. You know what I mean? Don't stand on each other's faces to push themselves up. They build each other up. They promote each other's channels, etc. They get each other involved. They've got a nice little community where they'll agree, like, to do certain things in a certain order, etc. And for me, they have been the community which have been showing people how to build unity. And then all of a sudden you've had AY on the scene and a few other new ones, and it seems to have all turned to shit yet again, like anything else that Jupiter is anywhere near. Jupiter is well known for destroying things from within. Jupiter is well known for telling outlandish lies, remixing the shit out of things to the point where it no longer resembles what it originally was or whatever. The truth, you've got no chance of trying to identify the truth around Jupiter. She's such a professional bullshitter. She's got used to the thing of, right, quick, hide the evidence, do this, do that, remix the shit out of it. Unless anyone's got absolute evidence, we just deny all knowledge, blah, fucking blah. She's done this for the whole time that she's been around. The thing is, with Jupiter, she'll fool people for an amount of time, and then, like anything, people grow wise to it and they come away from her. That's why she's got an ever-changing circle of people, because people get wise to her and come away from her. Most of the people around Jupiter have been attacked by Jupiter several times and going to very low levels. Do you know what I mean? AY and Roy and all these whatever was kind of told, you know, Jupiter's alright, blah blah blah, by that idiot he seems to have lost his tiny mind. Danny Roscoe. Do you know what I mean? So you can't really blame him, because if you don't fucking know, then you don't fucking know, do you? This is the thing with people like Jupiter. She's got very good at like pretending to be something other than she actually is, or whatever. Making out I'm a victim. It's just because because I support Tommy Robertson. No, it's not. You're a victim of nothing. You're a victim of nothing. You are a scumbag which has attacked people on many levels, and then when you get it back, you just say, oh, it's because I support Tommy. No, it's not. There's loads of people that support Tommy and they don't get the shit that you get. So stop lying. It's because of the vile things that you say and do. The campaigns of hate that you push and run around the internet with, trying to get useful idiots to do your dirty work for you, fighting your battles for you. It's pathetic for a fucking 60 odd, fucking, what is she, 60 years old or whatever. It's pathetic that you've got some scabby old bitch like that running around the internet trying to get all these younger guys to fight the battles for her, and you can tell she sat there wetting her knickers when people actually will go out and do something, confronting people on her behalf and all that. And this was no different than that. It all started because CP and AY was having a bit of a back and forth, and Jupiter was in there with a spoon. Do you know what I mean? Now, like I said, I've made a few recordings along the way, because you could see it was bubbling up to something like's just happened. Madness. Right. I'll be back in a minute, so if I'm off track or I start from somewhere else, that's why. So, where was I? Yeah, so all this AY stuff, whatever, I just think it makes the whole audit community be put into a bad light or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And I've always said, you know what I mean, the audit side of things and whatever, I honestly believe catches the right amount of people, varied people, not just people from one group or one side of things or whatever. It's a massive variant of people, and the value of that is endless, realistically. To have people come into that within the last 12 months or whatever and just turn it all to shit off the back of egos. I mean, all this with DP and AY and whatever just seems to be ego driven. Oh, he called me this, he called me that. Fucking hell, if you can't stand being called names or whatever, the internet's probably not the right place for you. Do you know what I mean? There's real things going on, there's real problems, and he's literally distracting everybody from the real issues. And to what gain? I just don't get it. For me personally, I've said from day one, do you know what I mean? There's that many auditors now, realistically. Whether you like them personally or not is not really relevant, do you know what I mean? They all bring something to the table. They all show you some things that you would have never seen before, and by doing that, you're educating people and awakening people to things that are going on right under the noses in most cases. Do you know what I mean? These audit things are literally all over the country. So you're gonna, you know what I mean, you're always going to be waking people up to things going on in their area which they probably had no idea about and would have had no idea about without the auditors. So very valued, it always has been. Now as of late, when it's turned to all this fucking shite back and forth and whatever, that's all I can, do you know what I mean? To stand back and look at the situation, you think, well, what's different realistically? For the amount of years that people have been doing auditing very successfully and in a good solid environment, community, etc., where they build each other up, not tear each other down, what's changed? And they can only look at it as the newcomers to the auditing community and shit steering cunts like Jupiter, which has never been involved in the audit community until AY came along, and all of a sudden look how many shitstorms that Jupiter has actually been in the middle of, with her fucking big wooden spoon out, playing one person off another. Now, I've always said, and I've never changed my mind, Jupiter is an infiltrator, shit stirrer, which will destroy anything and everything that you allow her to be near or involved with and whatever, because that's all her track history shows you. Realistically, what has she ever been part of and built that's not actually turned to a shitstorm? Realistically, there is nothing. So people are obviously going to see things their own way, this, that and the other, but yeah, I think it's one of them. Realistically, you're going to have people in communities and whatever that have seen these things unfold for themselves, and now they're being told blatantly, oh, you didn't see that, that's not true, this isn't true, blah blah blah, when they've seen it with their own fucking eyes and they've heard things with their own ears. How are you going to tell them that, what, oh, you didn't see that, you didn't hear that, because we've made the videos private now? That, you know, we'll just make out that you've imagined that one. That didn't happen, this didn't happen. People are not stupid. Even the stupid people around these communities and whatever are not that stupid. Do you know what I mean? You can't like make even dumb people believe that they've not seen what they've seen or heard what they've heard just because you've deleted the fucking videos or whatever. Now, like I say, I have copied a few things, I have made a few recordings along the way because I could see something brewing. And I'm not being funny, but it's not exactly the first rodeo, is it? We've seen CP getting bullied, and then that was remixed to fuck. Then we've seen it with the DJE thing. Now some people say, oh well, you know, he deserves it, blah blah blah. I'll be honest, I've not gone looking for what people are suggesting. All I've seen up to now is people chucking labels around. Apparently he's been putting the papers, this, that and the other. I've not seen it. I don't generally do. Papers, news, blah blah. I don't bother with any of that shit, so I don't know. I mean, I know people are running around calling him a paedophile, but I've not seen any evidence to suggest that. I mean, if people said pervert or something, you think, well, you know, the stuff around the gym stuff and all that and whatever, yeah, you could come up with pervert or something, I suppose, if whatnot. But to say that he's a paedophile implies that he's been messing about with children or something. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, put a link in the fucking comments box or whatever, but I've not seen any evidence to suggest that DJE has been messing with children to be given that name or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But people on PewTube, they quite happily chuck dangerous names around the internet. They'll make out all sorts of shit with zero evidence. Now, like I say, I could be wrong, I could be corrected or whatever. For me, if someone corrects me and shows me the evidence, okay, that's fine. Do you know what I mean? I've got no problem with that. The thing is, I'm not invested into one or the other, so it doesn't really affect me in any way, shape or form. Like I say, I value all auditors regardless, whether I like them or I don't. Now, don't get me wrong, if someone shows me evidence where it shows that actually X, Y or Z is a paedophile, an actual paedophile, then yeah, that's going to change things somewhat, obviously. But up to now, I've not been shown anything. I've just been shown the same shit, people chucking labels around the internet, and it seems to be based off the back of loves, likes, egos, views, following, etc. So yeah, it's a bit of a mad situation, but yeah, people are not dumb. Even the dumb people are not dumb enough to believe the bullshit, and it is bullshit coming out of AY's mouth about, oh, I was going to do a hotel inspection at gone midnight or whatever, even though he's on video saying specifically that he's going up there to confront DP, and it sounded like there was going to be more than words. Not being funny, but when you're saying I'm coming to such a postcode, and if you don't come down, I'm coming up, there's intent there all day long. The fact that you drove nearly 200 miles to get to that postcode, and then you've apparently, well, it's whether that person's come with you, Batman with the bat, whether he's met you there or whether he's drove with you or whatever, is pretty irrelevant, to be fair. The fact that you've both come to the same place to do whatever, to confront DP's a tiny little guy. Do you know what I mean? AY is, what is he, 6'3" or something. He realistically wouldn't need to turn up, even if he turned up on his own and the other side have turned up. Okay, yeah, there was 4 of them. None of them looked like they was up to much, realistically, and the only person that did actually come running up as if they was going to do something was DP. The others didn't seem to be doing that. Now, maybe, I'm not suggesting it is, I'm just chucking it out there, maybe these are friends, or I think someone might have said it, one of them was his brother or something. If they know that he's going to meet AY, who's a lot bigger than DP, do you know what I mean? They're going to look at that and think, well, we'll come with you just to make sure you don't get the shit kicked out of you or something. I noticed on the video, 2 of them had hung right back, and DP was the one that come running in to try and push or punch AY. The others didn't really come rushing in to do out about it. They didn't look like they was there to jump AY. Now you've got people like Jupiter saying, oh, well, why have they got gloves on, and why, well, it's fucking middle of winter, innit? People have got gloves on. Why have they got face masks on? Well, most of these people at demos and this, that and the other have got face masks on. Not everyone wants to put their face on a camera, and AY, they already knew AY was doing a live or whatever, So if they didn't want the faces on there, then obviously, yeah, put a mask on or whatever. The fact that they've got a mask on and gloves on is not intention of anything. It's fucking cold. They've been out there waiting, was it near 2 hours for fucking AY to arrive or whatever. It is what it is. Now, you've also heard, AY saying, well, they had a bottle and they was masked up and they had gloves on, this, that and the other. Where's this bottle? Because for the people that have seen the footages from both sides, nobody seems to be able to highlight a bottle. But yet we can see AY's friend with a bat. Now, considering AY had made out he was coming alone, this, that and the other, and I'm the big victim, I got jumped by 4 people, 4 on 1. Well, it wasn't 4 on 1, was it? Realistically, it was 4 versus 2, and the 2 came armed with a bat. Now, if their intention was to just make sure that DP didn't get beat up, then that explains why they was there. Now, for AY, who makes out he's the big SAS fucking auditor or whatever, I'm scared of no man, fucking mad shit. If that was the case, you would have turned up on your own. So I'll flip it back to when because that's the most relevant thing to do. So when I had problems with this Sean Cassidy, who Jupiter was using as a useful idiot at the time or whatever, pumping it up, getting it all inflated and everything and all hyped up and shit, and then all of a sudden I've said, right, alright, well, if you don't, because I said to him while it was happening, and he was confusion of, he thought I was this guy, I said, well, Sean, you're on the panel now, you know, click on my channel, have a look for whatever video, and you'll clearly see my face or whatever. Now, if that's not the same face you've got on that video, bear in mind it's a guy that's apparently lived in your house. You know what I mean? All you have to do is go, okay, I fucked up, I apologise, and that's that. Now, I was happy to leave it as that and not have to go visit him and whatever, but he wanted to play Billy Big Bollocks, this, that and the other, so I said, alright, guarantee you then, in the next 24 hours I'll come find you. Yeah, and again, I said, no violence, you know, no violence will be offered and whatever. It's just literally an opportunity for you to see my face, see me in person, know that it's not me, and then give me a formal apology. Simple as that. No violence, no nothing. But apparently I was the worst person in the world for doing that. Now, if I would have gone to Sean's and then all of a sudden Sean comes out, do you mean you fucking not? Yeah, you can die then, won't you? Buy a real car. So yeah, now when I went to Sean's, if that would have happened, if I would have gone to Sean's and he come, you know, he was waiting on the street or something and he had 3 or 4 people with him or whatever, do you know what I mean? I'd look like a right muppet if I'd have turned up saying, carry on you little knobhead, I'll just slam my brakes on and put you in my bumper, you little knob. How about that? Now, if I'd have gone there and Sean would have been waiting outside because I'd said to him, right, well, I'm on my way up. Bear in mind, I rang Sean 10 minutes before I turned up at his and said, right, Sean, I'm a couple of blocks from yours. Like I said, I offer no violence. I just wish for you to see myself and realise that it's not the person on your video. And that's all I want, an apology, simple as that. You know what I mean? I'm not having someone running around saying I'm all these fucking things that you've just made out to be, contacting children on Snapchat, I think it was, beat up a woman in his house, which I'd apparently lived in, which obviously I didn't, and I was a terrorist and a racist. You know what I mean? I wanted clarification on that, and I just simply wanted an apology. No violence, no nothing. Anyone that knows me knows. You know what I mean? I'm a man of my word. If I'm coming to fuck you up, I'm not even going to tell you I'm coming to fuck you up. It is that simple. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to give you warning and tell you that I'm coming. Why would I do that? The first you'd know about it, it'd be free front door. So it's one of them. If that would have happened and I would have turned up and Sean was there with 4 people and whatever, even if I would have pulled the bat out, even if I didn't turn up with a friend or whatever, security guard, do you know what I mean? If I'd have started whacking people up with a baseball bat, or having a security guard whack up people with a baseball bat or whatever, people would have no problem going, oh, you're a shitbag, you're a bully, you're this, that, the other, rah, rah, rah. They'd have no problem doing that. Now, people like Jupiter are two-faced as fuck. Do you know what I mean? She will defend AY on anything. You know what I mean? Oh, threats to kill on women. Yeah, no problem, I'll defend it. Threats to burn down a school with fucking children in it. Yeah, no problem, I'll defend it. Do you know what I mean? Now, when people are like that, you've got to look at the situation and think, you know what I mean? They'll defend anything to do with that person for reasons only known to themselves. Now, for myself personally, because people did say that, how do you know Sean weren't going to come steaming out the house with fucking 10 people behind him or whatever? You know, and you got a family, wouldn't you be looking at, putting yourself in danger for the sake of what? Sean had already said that he had a big knife and he'd shown a knife on camera and all this lot, and Jupiter was saying, oh, get a kettle of fucking hot bleach and all that and pour it on him and his dog and this, that and the other. Do you know what I mean? That could have happened. Yeah, Sean could have opened the door or whatever, or been waiting, and then, some sort of an ambush or whatever, 5 guys at one end, 5 guys at the other end of the road, and just get ambushed or whatever. That could have happened. But I'm not a bollotless pleb that has to make out I'm going to turn up on my own and then turn up with some security guard or whatever. Do you know what I mean? That's not what we do in Manchester. Might be what you do in fucking London or whatever, but we don't do those things in Manchester. You live by your word. Your word and your balls are as much as you need or whatever. You don't need to pretend things are other than they are or whatever. And I would have dealt with it whichever way it went, and I said that beforehand, do you know what I mean? And I said that after. I would have dealt with it whichever way it went regardless. It wouldn't faze me, because I knew at the end of the day I was in the right, and I'm quite able to defend myself. I don't need a weapon. I just don't. I don't need to bring a fucking security guard with a weapon. That just shows me that you are a fucking a bellend and a weapon yourself. Not in the way that you would like to make out either. Do you know what I mean? Now, people are going to see things in their own way and whatnot. All I will say is the audit community, this does no good for. It doesn't do any good. It doesn't do anybody any favours. Not being funny, but it was only not long ago that Channel 4, do you know what I mean? How did they get into the mix? Was doing a thing on AY and whatever. When you're not bringing people the right sort of attention, you know, where people can actually get behind you and think, well, I support this, you know, he or she is doing nothing but good. They're showing us what's going on in our own communities. The government are keeping it quiet. That's what people want to see. They don't want to see all this bullshit back and forth. Oh, I'm bigger than you are. Oh, my dad's harder than your dad. I can piss up the wall higher than... Do you know what I mean? It's just pathetic. I'm not being funny, but these people are old enough to know better. Now, I'm not on the side of AY, I'm not on the side of DP. I think they've both brought negative connotations to the situation, and the lefties will just love it. They'll love all this. I see Ghost has put a premiere out or something, or he might be live. I can imagine the gold dust that these people will think they can extract from that situation, and realistically you're giving them the ammunition to do so. So you've kind of only got yourselves to blame, haven't you? Now, it's just a bit of a mad situation, and you think, well, who's this benefiting realistically? When you've got Jupiter in the middle, which is like been infiltrating things from within and covering up for Hope Not Hate for fucking years, you've kind of got to look at it and think, well, what else is like not what it makes out to be realistically? It doesn't look good. Doesn't look good, that's all I will say on the matter. Like I say, I have made a few recordings along the way. Whether I'll put them out just yet or not, I don't know. Usually what I will do is let people keep digging holes and making things, make their claims, stand by their claim and whatever, and then I'll pull the evidence out and go, oh, whoops, just slipped on your own bullshit. Here you go, here you go, here you go. I have made 4 videos, so we'll see when I put them out, I guess. Now, I think that's about it. I'm going to leave it there. Hope everyone's well. Yeah, hope everyone's good, hope everyone's well, and I'll catch you on the next one.